Welcome to On the Clay Road, where we explore the beauty and creativity of ceramic art with Visnja Cuturic, who is the owner and operator of the Mitchell Pottery Studio, located here in Mitchell, Ontario. As you're aware, ceramics is more than just art. It's about form, function, and storytelling. Let's dive into Vishna's journey and process. Welcome, Vishna.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Good. Can you introduce yourself and tell us about your ceramic journey? Like, when did it start and leading up to where you are now?
So Vishna is a Croatian name. We came to Canada in 1967. My pottery journey began in high school in Kitchener. And I'm very grateful to the instructor there, Mr. Peter Pigeon, who with his wife owned a local store called Cloth and Clay. And he really let me explore pottery during my 5 years in high school from grades 9 to 13. And he very generously let me pot big. And so I explored hand building to begin with, and then I started to throw on the wheel, and he let me stay in the art room longer, and I did an independent art course in grade 13. It was amazing. And so following that, I actually joined the Waterloo Potters Workshop after high school, then went to France as an au pair, did some pottery there as well. Came back, went to university, and kind of stopped doing pottery during university. But then starting my professional career, I tried to join guilds and do a little bit of pottery here and there. But then really rejoined my pottery journey after retiring from the University of Toronto. And that's when at the same time I got married to a retired art teacher, and that really helped. Then we moved to Mitchell. And so it's really here in Mitchell that I ended up with a studio space. I moved out of the basement into the studio space, which I shared with my husband. He has now left my studio space because I started to take over a little bit more of the space than I should have. So he generously let me have that. And now I have lots of students. I have 6 wheels, and we're happily ensconced in Mitchell, Ontario.
So, what inspires your work, and what do you wish to convey with your work?
So, a couple of things. With my functional wear, I think I just want it to be functional, which is, just very important. And then I want it to be simple and elegant. I'm not a frou-frou potter. I don't like a lot of cutesy stuff on my pots. And I understand that has great appeal for many people, but it's just not me, and I just can't do it. So I like the form. If I could glaze all my stuff white, I would, because it's all about the line for me. I love the line. So that inspires me. So working on the wheel, whether it's on the wheel or hand building, I'm constantly looking at the outline of something and thinking whether it's pleasing to me or not. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I think, with my hand building, it's a little bit different, and I have a theme that I would like to pursue in 2026, my next year, making a little bit of more time for me to do some hand building in the studio, because I'm very busy teaching.
We get a lot of clicking in your studio today. What is that?
Sorry, Jim. It's firing day, so I have a bisque fire going, and that's the kiln clicking. My apologies, but it's a pottery studio. It's pre-Christmas. We have a rush going, and yeah.
There we go. Hand building.
So in terms of my hand building, which is my dream in 2026 to pursue that, I do have a theme that I want to follow, and that is a series of what I call carapace pots, which are slab built, and they focus on the theme of protection. I've been looking at how pillbugs and armadillos and samurai armor deal with the whole idea of protection. And so I kind of like that idea, and I want to explore that in pottery. So that's my goal for 2026. I've done a little bit of that, and I really want to explore that more. My wheel work, I want to go bigger. I want to be able to throw bigger. And so that in terms of form, that's what it is. Whether it's bowls or whether it's, taller vases or moon jars, I just want to go bigger and start throwing larger amounts of clay.
So what you're telling me is if you had a chance of just having one glaze to use for all your pottery, it would be white.
Yes.
Your preferred color.
Yes. And not like a blue white, like a soft white that would look good in any decor, but you would just focus on the line of the form as opposed to the color. And that may not be pleasing for a lot of people who want to buy pottery, but I think it's just the purity of the form then comes out.
Give the viewers an idea of your typical day coming into the studio.
Okay. So I'm not an early riser, just so you know. So, but I stay here late. So I generally start my day at home with breakfast, and then I come in here for 10 o'clock. Classes either start at 10 when I have classes going. Right now there are no classes because it's pre-Christmas. So if I have classes, I have classes. And in between classes, I take a break, and then there's another class. And then I try and do some throwing or basic organization. So my classes are Tuesday to Thursday. Sometimes on Friday and Saturday, I do what I call clay buddies or clay dates. And they're specially reserved, clay sessions with people who just want to do a one-off. So, and then Mondays are administration, and Sunday, if I have time, I throw. So it's busy.
I was going to ask, how do you find time to do your own work?
Yeah,
in between?
I'm trying to, in the new year, this last session was very busy with students, but I'm going to carve out a little bit more time for myself to just have a day for me in the studio so that I can concentrate on my own pottery.
So in this whole process of running a studio, have you had any challenges?
Gosh, no, everything's just been such smooth sailing. When I did pottery in guilds and memberships, I had never run a kiln on my own. Like I had been on the kiln committee and, had to load a kiln, unload a kiln, turn it on, but I'd never had my own kiln. So that was the first thing, was getting over the fear of running my own kiln in my own studio. And then just issues with, ice is falling off the roof. How do I get that cleaned off? If I ran the kiln the first time, it blew my electrical, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I don't think I've had too many terrible problems in here. Just little things come up. But I'm pretty happy with my studio journey so far, and I have a lovely space. It's on the main drag. People find it easy to park. I don't have those issues. It's a industrial sort of commercial building, so they come and clean the snow. So it really, I have nothing to complain about.
So you've talked about your students a few times now. So the question becomes, then why did you decide to create a teaching studio instead of just a regular potter studio?
It started as a regular potter studio. I really didn't have a clear idea. It was, I was potting in the basement. My husband said, well, I've got this big space. Do you want to come and pot? And I said, okay, sure. And, the nice bright windows. And I thought, woohoo, nice space. And then I thought, well, if I want to make money at this, how am I going to make money at this? And one day this lady came in. You just met her. She was here before. And she was my first student. I had this really old clunker of a wheel, one of those massive motorized kick wheels, just huge. And it was the only one I had. And she said, do you give classes? And I thought, well, I can. You want to learn how to do pottery? Okay, come on in. And if you're okay working on this wheel, I'm okay giving you a class. And that went really well. And I have a teaching background, so it just made sense that my two passions, one for pottery and one for teaching, kind of melded together. And I thought, that could work. And so then I ended up, eventually getting 2 wheels and getting rid of the old clunker. And, then I got a couple of students, and then I added another 2 wheels, and then I was able to get a couple more students. And I thought, well, this works. It works. I just felt like it was a natural fit. Yeah. And it's just grown since then. Now I have 6. I'm going to stop at 6. That's enough. Yeah, so that's how the evolution of teaching came about. Also, I have to say, I did art in the park and I've done sales, and it's tiring, packing all your wear into bins, driving, making sure that you don't forget anything, before you get to the locale. And I just thought this is a way for me to be closer to home, and not having to lift that barge and tote that bale every single weekend to go somewhere. So while that can be fun in its own way, this is easier for me, and I love the social aspect of it. I love meeting new people and my students and spending time with them. So it doesn't feel like work.
So, as an teacher, okay, I mean, we look at having students work, and it is a supplemental revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hope they achieve? I mean, what do you want your students to achieve at the end of the day, other than being able to make a nice pot or bowl?
Yeah. So I think when I started Mitchell Pottery Studio, I thought, well, what is my mission here? And I thought long and hard about that. And through discussions with other people, I realized I have 2 areas that I want to focus on. One is pottery training, like real training. If somebody wants to be a potter, I want to make sure that they get the training that they need to learn the basics. So learning to make every basic form, learning what it is to take that form from start to finish. I have a potter that was with me for 2 years who graduated, now has her own studio, and she's pretty prepared to run her own studio. So that is very gratifying to me. The other thing is the people who come in just want to dip their toe in the water, and I want them to have a good time in the studio. I don't want to pressure them with like, this is how you have to do it. But still you have to teach them how to make something so that they have something at the end of the day. But it's more for entertainment purposes. So I want them to have a good time. So I think my goal here is to do 2 things. Welcome the person who just wants to do this on a one-time basis and try it out. And then more seriously, for the people who want to continue their pottery journey from course to course, making sure that they get the grounding that they need. Yeah.
So how do you think that this studio here fits into the community?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. And that's a focus that I really want to develop. So it's called Mitchell Pottery Studio. I want to make sure that people understand I'm in Mitchell. I want to be part of this community. It's a small town. It's a wonderful little town. And, the more people I meet, the more I realize how connected they are. I'm the newcomer because, we moved here in 2017. So I'm trying to find ways. Right now it's through donations, through, doing workshops at some of the local schools. I donate to pottery, and I donate my classes to local charities. And I'm trying to get to know everybody. So I try to support local businesses, and some of them support me back, which is wonderful. And I hope to do more of that in the new year. I haven't had the resources to, I can't sponsor a sports team, but maybe in the new year or in years coming, I will. So hopefully in other ways, and then partnering with local businesses to do discounts, or I've joined the local BIA. Hopefully we can do something with that. Finally got my sign at Tim Hortons drive-through. That was just a big deal for me. So those little things mean a lot to a small growing business. And so just every year, if I can add a little bit more community involvement, I'll be really happy. And more people are discovering me now because my signage has improved this year. So that has made a big difference.
So how do you balance your creativity with the fact of running a business in ceramics?
Yeah, that's not easy. I think I have to compartmentalize it, because on the days when I do my own pottery, that's my time to be focusing on my art. When I'm teaching, it's just too practical for me to focus on that. And running a business is not easy. I recently I've taken on an assistant, which has just been a huge boon, because I don't have to do every single thing myself, and I don't have to remember every single thing myself. So my Monday admin days, that's where we get a lot of our business stuff done. And then we can focus on the studio stuff for the rest of the week. So that has worked really well. I have to say I'm very, very grateful to Christina for coming on board. Yeah.
What lessons would you like to pass on to aspiring artists? And how would you like your work to be remembered?
Oh, wow. Well, I think the message that I'd like to pass on, I don't know whether you mean in the grander scale of things, or, the message that I want to pass on to my students is that it's not a competition. Number one, it's an individual journey, and you just find your way as you go. So just don't be afraid to do it. Just keep going. Answers will appear when you ask. And sometimes you have to keep asking until they appear. So I think that's one thing, that it really just is an individual thing. Everybody does something different, and you can't compare what you're doing to other people. I can't be someone else. As much as I would like to pot as well as everybody who's come before me, I'm going to figure it out in my own time. Yeah, I thought about this the other day, that, who are all these people that have bought my pots, and how long will those pots survive after me? And 50 years from now, somebody's going to pick up a pot and look at the bottom and go, Visnja, Visnja, what is Visnja? And that's a really interesting thing. I mean, I like the idea of leaving something behind, which is wonderful. Whether anybody knows what that is when I'm gone, who knows? Maybe the website will be there. Maybe this will completely have changed after someone takes it over, or it doesn't. I have no idea. The future will be the future. We never know. It often surprises us. But I guess all I want to do is, if they look at one of my pots and turn it over and do the Visnja thing, that they say, nice foot. It's nice and smooth, and I really enjoy using this mug, cup, bowl, plate, whatever it is, and I think that's the most you can hope for. I have a very large bowl that a friend of mine gave me of Jack Suris. I think that's, I don't know, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. And he has passed on. And that bowl is in the middle of my coffee table, and I just look at it all the time, and I think, what a beautiful thing. Just what a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of ceramics with Vishna. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of creators and their craft. See you next time on the Clay Road.
Rolling in the Jeep, dust in the air, Clay Road adventures, we're almost there. Chatting with potters, spinning their wheels on the clay road.